Hey guys, welcome back to this United Starcast, and this is our fourth podcast, and it seems to be something that you guys really enjoy, so we're continuing with it. We're gonna just touch upon the Manchester United and Aston Villa game, and obviously we lost 1-0 to Aston Villa, which is horrible. But we did lose to West Brom also before during the COVID preseason games, and then we went unbeaten. So Rishi, are we going unbeaten this season?
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah, it's gonna be the Arsenal Golden PL trophy for us.
Prashant, when we look at it, a lot of our players were missing, right? And we were not clinical at all. I mean, you look at it from the starting 11, probably it was just uh, Maguire, Shaw, and Rashford that were playing. So, do we actually consider this as something that is worthy of our attention or not really?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't. When Lee Grant comes on at the 75th minute, you know as to like what the thinking behind this game is. It's just basically for us to have. I think it was a very good decision to play a team like Aston Villa because we got to play a Premier League team on a Saturday. It's almost like a Premier League kind of game where our substitutes get a run and Marcus Rashford can nurse himself to full fitness. Maguire can feel at home basically, and I think it's the kid didn't look that
And
bad, so that
Dallo
was.
can know what a football field looks like.
I completely agree, but
So yeah, man, I don't think it's a big concern that we lost the game. It doesn't really matter. I mean, Liverpool lost to Arsenal in the Community Shield, so I don't think that Arsenal are going to finish above Liverpool. I don't think there are any warning signs or anything. The plus thing is that we didn't come off with any injuries, so that's a good thing. And Donny van de Beek got to play with the team for a while, so that's another good sign. And yeah, it was
yeah,
fine, man. I
that
saw the
I was
highlights.
going to come to that. I was going to come to that. Rishi, there were a lot of youth players that were also involved. Like I saw Elanga coming on. I saw Galbraith playing. I saw Mengi. We've all seen Mengi before, but with the likes of a certain amount of youth going out, are these the players that you see Ole then pushing into our let's say squad depth roles, or do you think it was just a
Definitely
preseason, so
considering the
wasn't
fact,
sure?
no, considering the fact that we haven't really signed any more players, he's definitely going to have a situation where we're going to have three injuries and he has no choice but to throw these guys in. But Vishesh, on that note, I didn't see the full game. I saw the highlights, and from the highlights, the team played pretty well. I would say, the same woes as last season where we created the chances, but there was no finishing touch. Not one person could put the ball in the back of the net. I think at one point in one corner, if I'm not wrong, I mean, on the far post, it was a simple tap in. The keeper saves it, and it comes back to another United player, and we're still not able to put it in the back. So, I mean, again, like how Prashant said, not to make too much of this game, but similar fault lines. So,
I don't know, but I really enjoyed the way Luke Shaw played. I think Luke Shaw has understood that United are trying to get a left back, and the way he was putting balls in, and even Dan James, I've realized the guy can put a ball in if he doesn't put his head up. He puts a beautiful ball in if he's not looking at who's in the D, but if he looks at someone in the D, he'll always pass it to the defender. So I think Dan James should just like wear like a blindfold while he's crossing and just make that cross. But Prashant, while we've already spoken about preseason, one game really irrelevant. Europa League has helped us, could be taken as a preseason per se. But let's shift on to what's more exciting. The Premier League is back. I mean, week one is roundabout over. There are a few games tomorrow as well, but there have been some great performances. And we know we've discussed that Liverpool Leeds game. And according to Liverpool fans, as of last season, they lost because penalties don't count. So ideally, Leeds won 3-2.
Man, Vishesh, what an exciting week of Premier League football, right? Also, it doesn't feel like it ever went. It's almost like the season's continuing from restart, like the sort of 4 week international break, and the season's just gone on from there. It's been brilliant to watch. And Marco Bielsa is here, Marcel Bielsa is here. He's here to stay, he's shown it. But I think Bielsa is going to set up like this against every team. And I said it in for those who haven't seen our video about predictions, I said that Calvin Phillips is going to be one to watch out for. What a performance by the man. It's clear why Southgate wants him in the team. He's far better than the likes of Eric Dyer, and in my view, even better than Harry Winks and Declan Rice. What a fantastic player. Brilliant to watch. And as Jurgen Klopp said, that was one of the best games of football. Great scoreline. I think Trent is a very lucky boy. I think, I mean, he was having a nightmare of a game and then he gets
Awesome. I
saved
was
by
just I
that.
was just
I mean,
gonna
he's
get
very
I was
lucky.
just gonna ask Rishi this. We saw Liverpool's defense, which is apparently the best defense in the Premier League, get I mean bombarded and kamikazed by a championship side that's just come up. So Rishi, we saw Van Dijk being like the who again is the best defender of the world, go into a Harry Maguire situation. If this was Harry Maguire or Luke Shaw for Trent Alexander-Arnold or Virgil van Dijk, the internet would be going insane. Why are we letting these two go off so easily?
In all fairness, Van Dijk did end up getting a header in. Uh, Gotta give him that. Harry Maguire doesn't even do that much. But yeah, Vishesh, I think Liverpool. I think questions are arising for Liverpool is because they've not signed anyone big yet to add to their squad. So people are questioning whether the squad will survive. Personally, I believe the squad will 100% survive. This is the same squad that had a I don't know 30-point lead at the end of the season, how many over point lead that they had at the end of the season. And I think, like Prasham said, that this was just Leeds being that good and how they set out. And like Prasham said, they're going to set out like this against every team. So you can expect this against City, you can expect this against United, regardless of who we have in our defense and who Liverpool has in our defense. So I don't think the question marks for Liverpool are out yet. I think we still have to wait for 2-3 weeks to see how these players are back into the field, whether their fitness holds up. Because, like Prasham said as well, this is not like a new season. This is like the season got over. We had a 2 weeks break, and we're back right back into it, sort of thing.
I completely agree, but the
You know,
Leeds versus Liverpool.
Vishesh, I just want to add a couple of things here. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was like, Leeds have given a blueprint of, how to beat Liverpool. And I was just like, no, that's not true because teams don't set up this way. Teams aren't trained to play like this. Maybe Man City is, and that's it. I don't see Ole going to Anfield and doing what Bielsa did. I don't see
No,
Ancelotti or Jose going to Anfield and see what Bielsa did. So I don't think that's possible. And I think
Prasham, you
Rishi
missed
brought up
out
a
the
very important
mastermind.
point.
You missed out the mastermind, bro. The mastermind Lampard. The
Bro, Super Frank is going to play five forwards and no defenders. But Rishi, just one point I want to touch upon that Rishi mentioned. I think we were going to get to it later in the episode, but let's talk about it. He's spoken about transfers, and clearly Liverpool being heavily linked with Thiago. So, Vishesh, what do you think the situation is there?
dude. So I woke up this morning and I checked Twitter, and Romano just put me into like an overexciting state. It was going around on a lot of ITK, especially MUFC ITKs yesterday, that Thiago is the closest that's ever been to United. But hearing that the ex Bayern president has come out and said that he's agreed terms with both Liverpool and Manchester United, and he was offered a contract, and he said no. I give it substantial amount of weight. And to be honest, initially I thought United were just a name throw to ensure that Liverpool cough up the money. But it's been almost 1.5 months, and no reliable source has come out and said that no, Manchester United were never in for him. So Manchester United seem to be in for him, and that is guaranteed. And bro, I would take him, but I see Manchester United taking him as a sign, as a bonus sign. They're focused on way other positions. They want the Jadon Sancho deal done, and if Liverpool don't get him, then we'll go for him.
Vishesh, did the signing happen yesterday when Ole left?
Oh, that was hilarious because what the full situation was, the word came out at halftime. Ole hasn't come out, but he was just inside for like 5 minutes and he came out 5 minutes later. So maybe he was on the call with Jadon Sancho, telling him, Sancho, you're not going for training tomorrow, because Sancho hasn't showed up for training for Dortmund either. So it's either Sancho, you aren't going to training tomorrow, you're reaching Carrington and getting your medical done. Who knows? I think the next 48 hours for Manchester United are going to be super busy.
Abhishek, I want to come in here about Sancho. Yeah, go on, Prasham.
No, go on, Rishi.
Yeah, so what I wanted to bring in over here was I wanted to draw a parallel to Arsenal and them signing Willian. You can see what an impact he's had in the first game itself with those 2 assists, and he was, quite alive. So I think more than Thiago, United really, really need to push for Sancho because he can really ignite our team to levels we've never thought were achievable.
In fact, Rishi, you've literally said what I was going to say. I was actually just going to come to the Arsenal game and say that Willian absolutely lit the show up. And I mean, even though it was Fulham, like I mean, they Fulham played football for 15 minutes and then Arsenal absolutely wrecked them. And Aubameyang, Lacazette, Willian looked brilliant. But I was just going to say that just look at the impact a player of Willian's quality has had on Arsenal's squad. And when I say Willian's quality, I mean that yes, he's quality, but like Jadon Sancho is like 7 or 8 streets above Willian. And imagine the impact he can have on us. And imagine the balls he can put into the likes of Martial, Rashford, even Bruno. Like just the penalties he can win for Bruno, man. Just think about it. We're
No,
good.
and
We're good.
and Prasham, we in fact did a video with Niagara Falls MUSC that's coming out, which is just on Jadon Sancho, and we have discussed, how Jadon Sancho has scored the most goals and got the most assists last season, just after Messi. So I mean,
Yeah.
with the amount of style, his style of play, it suits United perfectly. But coming to that again, the issue with United is we used to play Dan James on the right. And I saw Dan James play on the left yesterday, and he was way better on the left than he was on the right.
Brilliant. But
So,
Vishesh, if we get Sancho and Greenwood can act as a replacement for both Martial and Sancho, then Dan James can come on for Rashford and then turn the game in those moments. I
so
think it
this
works
is
brilliantly.
Prasham, this is a perfect statement that you've made going into the next direction, and this is what I want to mention. What the hell is wrong with the Sun? Why have they picked a 2-year-old video of Mason Greenwood smoking up something and just targeted him? Like, I mean, Southgate targeted him for the girls thing in the hotel. I mean, even Phil Foden was there. You need to
Yeah, I
share
was
the
just going
blame.
to ask Vishesh, was Phil Foden not a part of this? Initial reports suggested that Phil Foden was the one who initiated all of this,
Yeah,
and suddenly it's just Mason Greenwood. And there are a lot
exactly.
of issues here. Firstly, that he's a Man United player, so Man United player headlines get clicks. Nobody gives a damn about Man City. No one gives a shit about them, even though they're 2 times champion 2 years ago. No one cares about them. Man United headlines give you clicks. The other issue here is this is the exact same thing that happens to Raheem Sterling. This is the exact same thing that happens to every single sort of player of color in England. This is the exact same thing that's happening to Mason. One fault an 18-year-old makes, and the Sun is out to get him. I mean, I do not understand this level of journalism. It's stooped to absolutely new lows, and it's essentially just a vendetta. It's almost like a vendetta. A United player, a player of color, a young guy, he's made a mistake. Sure, I want Mason to come out and just score a hat trick or score 3 goals in 5 games and shut everyone up.
Yeah.
Because why is Phil Foden not being mentioned in any of this? I will never understand. But really, the Sun and all the other English newspapers have some thinking to do. This is the reason why people are switching over to the Athletic and the other sources that don't indulge in this vanity news that gets clicks. It's horrible. It's an 18-year-old kid we're talking about. He's made a mistake. Let's move on. Yeah. Why? I've not seen so many headlines about Yaya Toure, who's an absolutely mature man, who's done this, who's done worse than what Greenwood did. I've not seen any headlines about him. But an
Yeah.
18-year-old kid is apparently the villain of the country.
No, Rishi, I want to get your thoughts on this. I mean, you're just targeting someone who's 18 years old, who's just come up the ranks. Doesn't it like hurt their morale, or do you think Greenwood will come out stronger? Because I remember when he was making his England debut and he was in the conference, questions weren't about him. Questions were, your teammate Harry Maguire in Greece went to jail. What's your thoughts on that? Why can't the press talk to the
Yeah,
player
so
about the game rather than talk about the other activities?
There's two things about this. The first thing is, like Prashant said, journalism is dead, and everyone's moving to independent media, just like what we are doing. Like, we are actually independent media. Second, what I want to talk about is, I think what Ole did with Greenwood was definitely protect him, and that is what needs to be done again, where he needs to be brought out of that limelight again. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens on game day one, whether Ole is going to put him in the line of fire as a starter, or is he going to keep him safe? Because honestly speaking, like person said, he's an 18-year-old. He doesn't deserve this, man. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone just makes mistakes when they're 18. Everyone makes mistakes when they're 30. Everyone makes mistakes throughout their life. The point is, can we overcome these? And if I know anything about the talent that Mason Greenwood is, I know he cares way too much about his game, that he's not going to let these things, bring him down, and he's definitely going to prove that he's a better man than this. So again, like I said, that I think it's now up to Ole to decide how to protect his players, because let's face it, while Greenwood does play for England, he's a United player first, because that's where he is born and bred up. Like that's where his talent comes from. So I think it's very important for Ole to now take a very how do I say it uh, a calculated decision, in my opinion. Whether is it okay to put if he even if he does play Greenwood, don't send him out for the press conference after the game. Don't send him out for anything before the game. Let him play the game. If you're sure he's going to do well, make sure he absolutely ruins the other team, and then let him do whatever he wants to do, because that's the only thing that's going to shut all these people up.
Vishesh, I want to add something. The press asked Bielsa before the Liverpool game, do you think it's going to be a tough game? What did they expect Bielsa to say? No, I'm playing the champions of England, and 1 year ago they were the champions of Europe, and they're probably the best team in Europe. But no, it's not going to be a tough game. We're going to walk through this game, right? I mean, this stupidity. Like the press has absolutely lost it in England.
But honestly, Prasham, I mean, would like to give Southgate also some of the blame, just putting it all on Mason Greenwood and not on Phil Foden, because
No, Southgate will only talk if Jordan Pickford is involved. That's it. That's all
it's
that's
horrible.
the only player
But
he sees.
but I just want to tell you something,
Yeah,
because I just got
exactly what
to
I'm saying, right? Southgate should be protecting his players, like how
I
Ole protected Greenwood throughout.
Yeah, but again, Southgate is a joke. I mean, he has such a talented squad, but he'll still bring on Mason Mount rather than Jack Grealish. But that's a different debate altogether. But Prasham and Rishi, I was just going through, and something interesting is Sky Sports has removed all bets on Jadon Sancho. Could that be Could that be it? It's just come out 10 minutes ago that there are no more bets being accepted for Sancho. What do you think that means?
I don't know since I'm not a betting man.
Yeah, neither can I say. But in all honesty, Vishesh, if the last few years have proved anything, is that these polls and all these things, they don't capture what's actually happening. So I think as United fans, you just have to wait for an official statement or wait for the here we go.
I
But
completely
Vishesh,
agree.
I want to just get back to the Premier League games a little bit. I think we didn't discuss it to the fullest. I think Arsenal really needs to be talked about here because even though it was Fulham, man, they look dangerous. Arteta is really onto something there. And as United fans, since let's be honest, we are challenging for the top four. Let's be honest, Arsenal is going to be a threat. So I think Arsenal was looking very good. The other thing that I thought is Alan St. Maximan is probably going to end up as the most foul player this season, 8 times in a game. I think it's an absolute joke after a point. Every time he touched the ball, they were throwing him down. But Newcastle, with their new signings, Hendrick, I think Jeff Hendrick or Fraser Hendrick, he also was looking very good. And Callum Wilson, I mean, he's a proven Premier League player. I think they too are looking good to not get relegated now. I think they will stay up after just that's my initial thought about it. And of course, we spoke about the Liverpool game in depth. And Jamie Vardy is yet having a party. The man can't stop scoring. He literally cannot stop scoring.
Let me come on to this again.
Guys,
When
I have a
United,
question, just one question.
yeah,
Who is going to be the penalty merchant this season? Is it going to be
Bruno, bro.
Salah? Is it going to be Bruno?
Bruno, bro. But let me
Bruno and
get to
Salah,
this.
it's going to
Let
be
me
a
get to
two-way
this.
battle.
Let me get to this. As soon as United start playing and we get penalties, penalties are not going to matter because that's what the rest of the Premier League says. So according to me, Salah has only scored one goal and Vardy has scored zero because penalties don't matter. Because I mean, Bruno is the penaldo, right? No one else gets penalties, so how can they get goals for penalties? But yeah, that being said,
But
I just want to touch on one last game that you
You know,
didn't mention, Prashant.
Vishesh, whoever says that has never taken a penalty in his life. Let me tell you,
because
penalties
Rishi knows
aren't
how
easy to
hard it
take.
is
There's
to
a lot
score
of
penalties because he's
pressure.
never scored one.
Yeah, honestly speaking, it's one of the toughest things to score. There's a lot of pressure. I mean, even my coach used to say, at the end of the day, penalties are a game of luck. I mean, not that much as he intended, but it's tough. It's not easy. So you have to be
But
consistent with them,
but
and
Rishi, I just
these
want to
players prove that they're consistent with them.
yeah, no, but I just want to mention one thing. Again, we saw the likes of two championship sides struggle in Fulham and West Brom. So I don't see them staying either in the top division. But the last game I want to just mention is Everton versus Spurs. I told you Mourinho's getting sacked this season, and Everton have strengthened their side a lot. I mean, with getting the players that they have, I'm worried they can put a challenge in there. Maybe not get through, but put a challenge for sure.
See, let me come in here, Vishesh. James Rodriguez, absolutely brilliant. I mean, James Rodriguez is what Dele Alli wants to be. What a player, man! Like the skills, this absolutely absolutely brilliant. James is great. Allen is a great signing. Doucouré is basically a budget Paul Pogba, so I'm not worried about him. But yeah, Everton looked very good today. Richarlison could have scored a hat trick. To be honest, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a lesser version of Harry Kane. He's got the same attributes, but not that good. But yeah, I mean, again, too early to say Mourinho is going to get sacked. I think Harry Kane was looking absolutely horrible today. Same with like Human Son, but I think Everton are a threat, and Don Carlo is obviously onto something. He's not come there to finish in the sixth or seventh place. He's come there to challenge for the Champions League spots. He's gone in the market with intent. He's got the players in. It was a good performance by them. Let's see what happens. They yet have Jordan Pickford in goal, so you can never trust him. They've got Michael Keane in defense with Yari Mina. So there are a lot of gaping holes in this team, which I think will show up. And I think Spurs are going to do much better than them over the period over the entire season. I'm quite certain of that.
So Rishi, I'm just going to ask you this and end our podcast for the day. Prashant predicted Lampard to get sacked first. I predicted Mourinho. Who's your pick?
There's no way Rishi doesn't agree with me on this.
And see, I don't think Mourinho is going to go. I agree with Prashant. Mourinho is definitely not going to go. I think again, it's too early to say which manager is going to go. Considering the fact that Ole is not getting a signing, he could also be under the scanner, even though we might not want that, because we know how Ed Woodward works. You know, he doesn't give the players and then he goes and sacks. So yeah, too early to say. But Mourinho is not going, bro. He's here to stay and he's here to prove himself.
Wait, guys.
Also, Vishesh, before we wrap up, shout out to our man Cristiano Ronaldo, 100th goal for Portugal. Beautiful free kick there. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, Ronaldo is someone we can just keep talking about, and then this will be like a 5-hour video or something. But that being said, guys, Premier League's back. Crystal Palace next weekend. I mean, everyone's excited for that. First game, probably get to see Van de Beek play because Pogba slightly
also,
doubtful
Palace
with the
beat
first.
Southampton.
What?
Also, Palace beat Southampton.
Yeah, Palace beat Southampton, which gives them the confidence coming into that game.
Of the position.
Yeah. So that being said, guys, let us know what you think. Is Jadon Sancho going to happen? I'm confident about it. They seem confident about it. And hopefully we win our first game. We'll see you after that. Bye-bye.